What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews, exclusively here as always on the Casa D18 Studios channel. I, of course, am your host, the Renegade JJ Williams, and today we're going to jump back into the official Skywalker saga with 1980's Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, starring Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, Harrison Ford, David Prowse, James Earl Jones, Billy D. Williams, Anthony Daniels, Kenny Baker, Peter Mayhew, Alec Guinness, Frank Oz, and Jeremy Bulloch. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me here once again for another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews. And today is going to be a really fun one, much better than yesterday's holiday special. I do apologize again for that, but when we are talking about the greater Star Wars timeline, unfortunately, we do have to acknowledge it. But it's over and done with, and barring anything unforeseen, it shall never be covered on my channel again. But today, The Empire Strikes Back, quite possibly the greatest single installment in the Star Wars franchise, by most people's accounts. So let's get right down to it here, shall we? When we open our film, it has been 3 years since the destruction of the Death Star, and the Imperial fleet, led by Darth Vader, are desperate to locate and destroy the Rebel Alliance. So they dispatch probe droids across the galaxy in order to try to find and locate the newest Rebel base. One probe happens to get lucky and locates the Rebel Alliance on the remote ice planet of Hoth, where Luke Skywalker and his friend Han Solo have been out patrolling the area when the probe droid lands. Luke, thinking it's a meteorite, goes to investigate it, but he is attacked by a Wampa and taken to his cave. Han informs the rebel leader that he needs to leave because of the bounty that's on his head. And they ran into a bounty hunter not long before this, and it kind of made Han worry a little bit that he's putting his friends in danger. Leia doesn't want Han to go, but Han tells her that he must. Meanwhile, back in the Wampa cave, Luke uses the Force to retrieve his lightsaber and free himself from being held hostage. He begins to freeze in the coldness of the planet, but before he can succumb to hypothermia, he is paid a visit by the spirit of Obi-Wan Kenobi, who instructs Luke to go to the Dagobah system in search of Yoda, the last remaining Jedi Master. Out on the search for his friend, Han locates Luke, uses his lightsaber to slice open a tauntaun and insulate Luke in its innards until morning. The next morning, Han and Luke are rescued, and Luke's injuries are tended to, but the Empire launches a full-scale assault on the rebellion using AT-AT walkers, which forces the Rebel Alliance to flee the planet. Han, Leia, Chewbacca, and C-3PO get away aboard the Millennium Falcon, while Luke stays behind and assists the Alliance in the fight against the Imperial invasion army. Once the AT-ATs have been taken care of, he returns to the hangar, boards his X-Wing fighter with R2-D2, and begins his quest to Dagobah, while Han and his crew attempt to avert the Empire, but the Falcon's hyperdrive is malfunctioning. So he has to resort to slick flying maneuvers, going as far as to hide amongst a Star Destroyer so that the ship won't appear on their scopes. Meanwhile, Luke arrives at the Dagobah system and crashes his X-Wing into the swamp. Luke then begins to seek out and eventually locates Yoda, who reluctantly agrees to train Luke after conversating with Obi-Wan's spirit. Luke begins to train with the Jedi Master, but he has issues concentrating and believing in the Force. Size matters not. Judge me by my size, do you? Well, I'll try. No, try not. Do or do not. There is no try. I don't believe it. That is why you fail. Han and the Falcon are finally able to get away from the Imperial fleet and seek out refuge on the planet of Bespin, also known as Cloud City, a mining colony which is operated by Han's old friend, Lando Calrissian. In an effort to trick the group of rebels, Vader enlists a number of bounty hunters, including IG-88, 4LOM, Bosk, and the notorious Boba Fett, amongst others. Boba Fett is able to track Han and his team to Cloud City, and Vader forces Lando to turn the group over to the Empire. Vader then uses the group as bait to lure Luke to the city with intentions to try to turn him to the dark side of the Force. And as a result of the anguish that Han and Leia are experiencing, Luke begins to experience visions while he's training on Dagobah. And he decides to leave despite the fact that Obi-Wan and Yoda protest. You're going to be seduced by the power of the dark side. You're not ready. You have to complete your training. Obi-Wan even tells him, if you face Vader, you must do it alone. I cannot help you. Vader's plan for Luke is to encase him in carbonite, which would put him into a suspended animation for his journey to the Emperor. Fearing that the process could kill young Skywalker, though, Vader decides to test it on Han Solo. Of course, Boba Fett has an issue with this. What if he dies? He's worth a lot of money to me. Vader tells Boba Fett, you will be compensated by the Empire if he passes, if he perishes. Han survives the process, though, and is then given to Boba, who takes Han to Jabba the Hutt in order to collect the bounty on his head. Lando is able to free Chewie and Leia, but they don't trust him. He just sold Han out to Vader. And now you want me to trust you? But Lando tries to tell them, there's still an opportunity to save Han. Unfortunately, they are able to stop Boba Fett before he departs the city. Lando, Leia, Chewie, and R2-D2 fight their way back to the Falcon and are able to flee the city, while Luke arrives and engages Vader in a lightsaber battle. And it's a brutal battle. Luke is still very much a novice at this point, and Vader is this accomplished master of the lightsaber. Luke has no chance when you really look at it, but he's trying. He's fighting for the purpose of his friends. And Vader tries to persuade Luke to join him and rule the galaxy. And Luke's like, I will never join you. To which Vader drops that bombshell that everybody knows at this point, so I won't even throw spoiler alert. But it's during this battle where Vader reveals that Obi-Wan lied to Luke. Darth Vader did not betray and murder Luke's father, as Obi-Wan had told him, Darth Vader is Luke's father. Vader once again asks Luke to join him, and they can rule the galaxy as father and son. But Luke refuses. So much so that he drops into an air shaft in order to get away from Vader. And he just luckily happens to land on an antenna, which saves him and braces him. While he's hanging on the antenna, Luke reaches out with the Force and tries to contact Leia. And Leia is actually able to hear him because, being as how she is Luke's brother, which again, we won't find that out in the original trilogy. We won't find that out until Return of the Jedi. We already know that because of Revenge of the Sith. But because she is Luke's sister, she is Force sensitive. She just hasn't had a mentor to help train her in the ways of the Force. So she is able to receive Luke's message, and she convinces Lando to turn the Falcon around to go and rescue Luke. And as Lando tries to get the Falcon back into the city, the Falcon is pursued by TIE fighters and almost cornered by Vader. But they're able to rescue Luke, and R2 is able to fix the hyperdrive on the Millennium Falcon, which allows him to kick into light speed and get away. Our film draws to its conclusion with Luke and Leia, R2 and 3PO reunited with the Rebel fleet. Luke is given a prosthetic robot arm to replace the one that Vader severed during the lightsaber battle. Luke, Leia, R2 and 3PO then observe Lando and Chewie take off in the Falcon to go find Han as our film draws to its close. Again, man, The Empire Strikes Back is by and far my favorite film in the entire Star Wars saga. You get the big reveal about Vader being Luke's father. You get the official, recognized debut of Boba Fett. The planet of Hoth is my favorite planet because I've always been a Christmas fan. So here's this planet with ice and snow. And as a kid, I always loved that, even though it's probably not the grandest as far as like beauty and everything. That definitely would probably go to Bespin. But I just loved the fact that there was the snow planet. Frank Oz is introduced as the Jedi Master Yoda. Frank Oz, of course, a legendary Muppeteer, not puppeteer, although the Muppets are puppets, but legendary Muppeteer. We're talking Fozzie Bear, Miss Piggy, Animal, Grover, Cookie Monster, and the list goes on and on. Bert from Bert and Ernie. And something I did not know until I was researching this, Frank Oz's right-hand person throughout the making of this was Catherine Mullen. Catherine Mullen is another well-known Muppeteer, best known probably for being Moki on Fraggle Rock and Kira in The Dark Crystal. So you just got those credentials right there being represented in this film. What more can I say? Seriously. When it comes to my rating for The Empire Strikes Back, it should be no surprise. My favorite one in the franchise, I'm going to give it 5 out of 5. I definitely feel that this is better than A New Hope. It's the best in the original trilogy, and it's the best out of the official 9 films in the Skywalker saga. It's the best out of every Star Wars movie that I've ever seen. What do you guys think of The Empire Strikes Back? Those of you guys that have seen it, let me know. Leave your thoughts over here if you're watching the premiere, the live stream. If you're watching on demand, leave your thoughts down here. Let me know what you guys think. Let's not forget to get out there on the social media. Try to get those hashtags out there in the world. Hashtag Casa D18 Studios, hashtag Renegades Reviews, hashtag Renegade Returns, and of course, the ever popular hashtag Shenanigans. We interrupt this episode of Renegades Reviews for an important announcement about
merchandising.
Merchandising? What's that?
Merchandising. Come, I'll show you. Merchandising, where the real money's made.
Make sure you go over to teespring.com/stores/Jeff Meacham Network for all the t-shirts you see here from the West Coast professor, Jeff Meacham himself. You can get shirts for the Jeff Meacham Network, Talk Wrestling, as well as the red and gold Meachamania shirts. And while you're there, don't forget to get your shirts of the Casa D18 Studios Brotherhood, the Dads on Wrestling shirt, the Renegade JJ Williams, Statboy Sports Bar, and the hashtag StatBoyApproved shirt. Make sure you go over to teespring.com/stores/Jeff Meacham Network and score your shirts today. Don't forget to get out there. Do what that commercial just told you. Go to teespring.com/stores/Jeff Meacham Network for all your official merchandise of the Casa D18 Studios Brotherhood. Get you your Renegade JJ Williams shirt, Statboy Sports Bar, Dad's Not Always on Wrestling, hashtag StatBoyApproved, hashtag Shenanigans. Get you your official merchandise for the Jeff Meacham Network, 3 different designs of the Jeff Meacham Network logo to choose from, along with Meachamania, Talk Wrestling, and so much more. Tomorrow, right back here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, join me for another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews, where I take another sidestep here for a couple of days. The first of the final 2 standalone films that make up the greater Star Wars saga, in my opinion, Caravan of Courage. This is an Ewok film that was made back in 1984, 1 year removed from Return of the Jedi. It was a made-for-TV film, but it takes place between Empire and Jedi in the grand story. So make sure you tune in tomorrow for that. The film stars Warwick Davis, Aubrey Miller, Eric Walker, Tony Cox, and is narrated by the great Burl Ives. You're not going to want to miss out that one here, right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel. Thank you guys for joining me once again. For all you guys that have been watching the premiere, leaving your comments over here, thank you very much. I appreciate every single one of you. All you guys that watch on demand, leaving your comments down here, thank you very much. I appreciate each and every one of you. I look forward to covering Caravan of Courage tomorrow, as it's a very, very often forgotten entry in the Star Wars saga, more so even than the holiday special, because the holiday special is at least well known because of how notoriously bad it is. But Caravan of Courage and the Ewoks Battle for Endor, which we'll be talking about the day after tomorrow, both of those are just very, very often forgotten. And if you want to watch either one of those before I begin my review on them, they are available currently on Disney+. So I highly recommend checking them out, watching them before I do my review tomorrow and the day after those 2 films. Thank you guys for joining me, tuning in. I appreciate each and every one of you. And until tomorrow, I will see you guys next time, and may the Force be with you.